Today is one of the days we give a presentation about the products of Mobile Viewpoint, because IBC is not going to happen this year. But we do want to update you about our new products, services, new developments. We give webinars every day. And today is about the model of the Mobile Viewpoint product portfolio and what makes us best in class. Mobile Viewpoint already exists for about 10 years. And in those 10 years, we always try to be a very innovative company with new developments. So as you can see here, we were one of the first with an H.265 mobile encoder, which was quite unique. And we still try to develop and launch new innovative features for our equipment. So for example, we have a 4K mobile encoder, but also mobile encoders and rack units with multi-camera video inputs. And now with 5G coming up, we try to integrate the 5G modems into our units. We also focus on remote production. So yesterday we had a webinar about remote production and at-home productions. And today we will show you the remote production features in our mobile and rack encoders, such as Tally, RCP, Intercom, and IFB. And besides the hardware products, we will also show you some features of our link matrix, which are quite unique for our systems. Here you see a picture you have probably seen more often in our webinars, but it's a picture that shows the multi-camera unit in use in Paris by Sky Sports. So they did an interview on a terrace. There's only one cameraman on site. He's connected 2 cameras to the mobile encoder, the Azure Airlink actually, which I also have here next to me. And both feeds are transmitted back to London to the studio. So it's a really cost-effective production because there needs to be only one man on site and they create the final stream in the studio. And it's also more often used for sport events. So this is in the United States, but done by our reseller, CP Communications. They do a lot of sport events, such as marathons, the New York Marathon, but also for Reebok, they do a lot of events, and they stream everything back to their facility in New Jersey, and they create the final stream there. And besides developments in our mobile encoders and rack units, we also focus on new markets, or not new markets, but new innovative products, such based on AI. So you can see a couple of pictures here of our IQ Sports Producer, which is based on an AI algorithm, and we are able to track and follow the players and the ball automatically. And this Friday, we have a webinar totally focused on our IQ Sports Producer. So in case you're interested in automated sports production, such as football, basketball, ice hockey, floorball, handball, please tune in on Friday and we can tell you everything about our IQ Sports Producer. Today we're going to give you a tour through our mobile encoders. We also discuss something about the rack encoders, and we will especially highlight what makes us best in class, so the special features you won't find anything else. If you have any questions during the presentation or after the presentation, feel free to send your questions in the Q&A box, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them and we will answer them after the presentation. If you have any very detailed questions or special use cases, or you don't want to share your question with everybody, just send us an email at sales@mobileviewpoint and we can discuss everything in more detail. Let's start with the Azure Airlink. We have the Azure Airlink available in different with different features. This is how it looks like by default. So you can see a big touchscreen on the front. It's a ruggedized material, a battery plate on the front and on the back. This is now V-mount, but it can also be Anton Bauer. That's up to you. Via the touchscreen, you can completely manage and control the unit. So not just a few features, but you can really change everything. So if you have a cameraman out in the field, you can really change all the settings himself. But it's also possible to do that remotely. So in case you have a cameraman and he doesn't know that much about APN settings, for example, you can really support them remotely via the studio site, via Link Matrix, which Boudewijn will show you later on. The one I have here right now is the HD version, which is available with 1, 2, or 4 SDI video inputs. So you are able to transmit a lot of cameras over the same unit. So it's a perfect solution for remote production. And the good thing about these Airlink units is that they are very powerful. So you can do a lot of things together. So you can stream live video, but at the same time, you can also use it as an hotspot. So you can connect your laptop to it and use the available bandwidth besides live video also for internet on your laptop or any other device. And we can also do store and forward at the same time. So everything that you have stored on the unit, you can also transfer it at the same time as the other features to the Link Matrix. And the unit is very clever because it can prioritize all those features, and live video is always priority number 1. So in case you don't have enough bandwidth, you just stop the access point functionality and keep on moving forward with the live video, of course, because that's priority number 1. This is the same casing, but this is the Airlink with a 4K input. It's got a 4K 60 frames input and also an SDI loop through to see what's coming out. Now we move to the next slide.
Yeah, so we have the base link, which is this little guy here. It's a bit smaller when compared to the Airlink, as you can see, quite a bit smaller. But it's still very powerful. It can support either a single SDI input or an HDMI input, and it can hold up to 6 modems maximum. By default, it comes with 4 built-in modems. On top of that, it has Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and of course has the same hotspot functionality as the Airlink does. On top of that, this unit also has a full intercom system. So you can do 2-way audio with the base link as well, which is our entry-level mobile encoder.
Next to the base link, we have the Terralink Mini, which is an even smaller device compared to the base link. The most basic version of the Terralink Mini is the one you see here in the middle. It's without modems. It's with LAN and Wi-Fi, so it's a perfect solution to use if you always know that you have a good connection, an internet connection. And it can be used for video return, for example. But you can also upgrade it with 2 internal modems, and then it can bond 4 connections at the same time.
Then we have the Terralink 4C remote production unit. It can hold up to 8 modems for a total of 10 connections, can encode in H.265 or 4, and it has 4 HD inputs. It can do more than 50 megabits per second, and it also has a special decoder for video return. You can actually set the unit to use 3 inputs and use the 4th input as an SDI output for a video return. On top of that, this unit has full intercom, so 2-way audio, as well as tally for cameras or even RCP.
Yeah, we can move over to the next slide, and then we can actually show you what the RCP functionality can do for you. So it's available on this Terralink unit, which by the way I just explained and you have seen on the slide. But we can also add this feature to the Azure Airlink, and we just add a special connector to the Azure Airlink, and then you are able to control the unit via the RCP panel from your studio site. We also have basically everything we produce in a mobile unit. We can also make it in a rack unit. So these are the Terralink units, and the one on the left is the most basic solution. So it's a 19-inch rack unit without modems, with LAN and Wi-Fi, and it's available with 1, 2, or 4 SDI video inputs. And the middle one is basically the same unit, so LAN Wi-Fi, 1 up to 4 SDI video inputs, but it has 8 built-in modems. So this can also be used on locations where you don't have an internet connection, or the internet connection is not very reliable. But you can also use it in an OB van, for example, to transmit the video signals and create a low-cost production. And on the right side, you see the HLE encoder, which is able to create a stream for internet, an HLS stream, which can be used for several internet third-party platforms. The unit that's actually not in a presentation, but which is quite a unique unit, it's the data link unit. As you can see, it looks like the base link. It's the same size, but it's without the video encoder built in. It's with only the modems, so it can create an access point basically anywhere in the world, which you can use for your laptop or any other device. But you can even connect a playout to it and receive the stream in an OB van again, or any other location where you don't have an internet connection. And besides these products and all the nice features, we also have a management platform to manage and control everything. Can you explain more about this management platform, by the way?
Well, Link Matrix can be viewed as the spider in the web, as we would say. It manages all the connections. So when you turn on a WMT, it will connect to Link Matrix and get information from there on where to stream to. And the playouts also know, using Link Matrix, what they need to play. And Link Matrix is also the one who tells the debonding server to send on the streams to your custom RTMP or Facebook or YouTube. So it's really the one that manages everything in between. So it's a full remote platform to manage your devices.
Yes, and now we're going to show you the live Link Matrix. So I'm going to stop the presentation. Share my screen again.
If we can find the mouse.
Yes. And here we go. I'm going to hand over the mouse to Boudewijn.
Thank you. So, Link Matrix. I'm going to move some stuff to the side. When you first log into Link Matrix, this is the screen you will see. We'll go through it fairly quickly. If you have any questions, of course, use the Q&A box. Otherwise, you can always email us after the fact, and we're more than happy to go through Link Matrix together with you at any given time. So let's focus on Live and Connect first. As you can see, Live and Connect is giving me an overview of all my encoders. Trying to zoom out a bit here. So I have one encoder online, which is actually a 4-channel unit. And I have a decoder here on the side. To connect a unit, I can simply drag and drop it onto an output. That's all I need to do. I can enable IFB or intercom. It depends on the configuration and on whether your device supports intercom. Or I can even listen to the incoming IFB stream using this little button there. When I click on a unit, I can see more details, and not only see more details, but I can even change a few settings, like, for example, I can change the bitrate down. So let's say we want to do 9. Save it out. I can change the delay, but I can also change the codec. This particular unit only supports H.264. I can also change the type of input. In this case, this unit is a URL encoder. But if I were to have SDI and HDMI, it would give me those choices. You can also see from this page that I can immediately see the type of input this particular unit is having. So on input 1, I'm getting a 1080i 50, on input 2, 720p 50. It also shows me the delay and the current bitrate and the input. So in this case, URL. I can also preview the video just by clicking these little play buttons, and they'll just start playing, which can be very handy. If you, for example, don't have a multi-viewer ready, or you just want to quickly preview multiple streams, let's say at a remote production, or even during elections, for example, you can do all of that straight from here. When you click it open, you also get an overview of the connection. This unit only has one Ethernet connection, so I'm only getting one. But if I were to have more, I would see multiple dots here, and they would immediately give me an overview of how the connections are doing. If I want to connect to social media, I can actually switch here under decoders to social media. I don't have any events now, but by switching to the 3-lane view, I can, for example, add an RTMP server. So RTMP going to some server somewhere, doing a live. Once the event has been created, I can switch back to the 2-lane view, and it should appear here under the social media decoders.
There it is.
Once it's there, I can simply drag and drop a client onto it, and it'll start to stream to my RTMP server. Another thing we have is Clipper, which can also come in handy, where you can see a number of recordings here. These are basically lives that I've done with my unit, where I've told the unit that I want to save my live stream on the server. So any of these have live streamed in the past, so if I were to select one, I can see that this unit was streaming on these dates at these times, and I can just select a stream and make a clip. As you can see, I'm getting the little thumbnails here, can set an in point, can set an out point, and export the clip, either for direct download, or if I enter a host name, username, and password, I can upload directly to WebDAV, SFTP, or FTP. So that's the new Clipper. You can also do small remote productions from within LinkMatrix using LinkMix. With LinkMix, you can, I'll move this panel out of the way. So, with LinkMix, you have quick actions, which are 4 seats where you can drop encoders. All your other resources are here below. So as you can see, I can see the 4-channel encoder again. And I can drag units onto these 4 little seats here. And from there, I can drag them quickly to the preview and then on to the output. On the preview, I can select an overlay. So in this case, I already created one with a little logo at the top right that will be inserted onto the video that I drop here. And then I can send it to an output, which can either be a playout server, as I do here, but I can select multiple locations, like, for example, the RTMP1 event I just made. And then I can control the type of signal I want to send there. So let's say my RTMP supports 1080p 50, add a maximum of 5 megabits. Then I can enter it like so, and then press the checkbox. So now if I press the Set Live button, this signal will actually be sent on both to the RTMP server as well as the playout server output. On top of that, we have the IQ calendar, currently designed for the IQ sports. With this calendar, you can actually schedule events beforehand. So you can select a unit, select a date and time, even add in an overlay and select one of multiple locations. So if I go to the locations, I get the same screen as I did with LinkMix. I can just add in my RTMP again, set the transcoder to whatever I want, and then have it transcoded to that format. And then it'll automatically start the unit and set it to live stream and output to any outputs you've added. You can create your overlays here. So I have made this one, for example, and I uploaded a little graphic here that I can just drag in, and from there I can just drag it anywhere. I can make it a little bigger or a lot smaller, and then save it out and use it in productions like those. So those are the highlights of LinkMatrix that I wanted to show you. If you have any more specific questions, we recently did a webinar on LinkMatrix that is a little more detailed, but if you have specific questions, again, the Q&A box, or otherwise, once this webinar is finished, you can always contact us via email.
Yes, and I believe also most of all of the previous webinars are on YouTube. So also the one that Boudewijn just discussed about LinkMatrix is also on YouTube. I'm going to share my screen again with the presentation. So if you have any specific questions, yeah, feel free to ask them in the checkbox or in the Q&A box. But feel also free to contact us on sales@mobileviewpoint. I'm going to see if we have any questions now about the webinar.
We have a question from anonymous attendee. Can encoders support both PAL and NTSC? The answer is yes. We support both, as we do 720p, 1080i, P, and 4K. So all the way from PAL up to 4K 60.
The next question, can BaseLink support video return? That's a good one for you, Boudewijn. You can explain how it works.
Well, you use the HDMI output, so yes, the BaseLink can support a video return output. So that really makes the BaseLink a very powerful little device. Not only can it have up to 6 modems, it also has a full intercom and video return system.
What's typical latency of an encoder? It really depends on the settings, of course, also about your use case. But we can change, or we can provide a delay between 0.8 seconds and 1 minute. But it really depends on the quality of your network, of course, where you are, what type of latency you need. But it can be between 0.8 seconds and 60 seconds. What about 5G? It's one of the questions. Yeah, we are ready for 5G. We have received the first 5G modems, the official ones. We're now building them into the units. So we are ready for 5G. The only downside is that 5G is not everywhere available yet, and that all the modems are not officially certified yet for all the regions worldwide. So you probably will see a lot of modems, 5G modems right now, but please check if they are certified for all the networks worldwide. So we use the Sierra Wireless modems, and they are now certified for Europe. October they will be certified for AT&T in the United States, and in November for Verizon. So that's a process Verizon is going through. So once that's done, we are ready to use them worldwide.
Okay, next question. Does Multicam Encoder use a shared encoding engine, or are there separate encoding engines for each stream to make it more reliable? Well, it's the latter. We use separate encoding engines for each stream, thus indeed making it more reliable. And we send each over separately, but still in sync.
And we have a question about freelancers. If we offer them transmitters, can they use their transmitter for different TV channels, even if the channel don't have MVP encoders? Meaning, can they take the stream from other brand decoders or from software on their PCs? Yes. So I basically see two questions. If a freelancer can work with his own transmitter with different TV channels, yes. So basically one transmitter can connect to multiple playouts and receivers at the same time. That's what's happening a lot these days. So there's a freelancer buys a transmitter, and he works with different channels worldwide, because they have our receivers/decoders. But we can also work with third-party streams. So if a customer doesn't have a mobile viewpoint receiver, we are still able to deliver the stream to a third-party destination via RTMP, for example. So I know that our competitors are also able to receive third-party streams via RTMP. So we can easily deliver the stream to those channels.
Can I use a decoder in my OB truck? Yes, you definitely can. Of course, if you have a fixed internet connection to your OB truck, that would make things very easy. But if you don't, you can either use a data link to provide a mobile internet connection, or you can opt for one of our mobile playouts, or the combination of encoder and playout in one. Whereas in the example before with the 4C, you can sacrifice one input and make it an SDI output. So yes, you can definitely use a decoder in an OB truck.
I think that was the last question. Yes.